You gotta get into the groove.
This is Leung back with another episode of GLIVE. If you're joining us live, give us a hashtag live. If you're joining us on the replay, give us a hashtag replay. And welcome back to this, of course, another exciting pre-launch week for Groove. Lots of exciting things are going on, and you know that exciting things are on the way when you see that we have so many people who are joining us even before we even came on live. We got Dwight and Chanel also join us. We had Queen Bee's Groove Pages Training, which of course is Nicholas and George all the way from Japan. And by the way, if you are joining us, let us know inside the comments where you are from, what time it is, what city, which country you are, because as you know, we do have a very special guest today. And this very special guest is more than excited to see exactly where you're from, who we're talking to, and it's going to be a very, very exciting time. Now, today, as we just mentioned, it's not a surprise anymore. Of course not, right? Because it's already out of the bag, right? It is, however, still a very special treat because we have a very special guest. And by the way, the very first guest of 2022. Are you excited about that? If you are, type in the word excited inside the comments. And we are here just in time to give you more ways, even more ways to monetize for the new year with Groove in this brand new community that if you are joining us for the first time, it's going to be absolutely amazing because you're going to learn all about all kinds of really cool things in terms of monetization. Do you want to monetize? If you do, type in the word monetization inside the comments. Now, let's not waste too much additional time because I know that you're here for a very, very specific reason. What reason is that? Of course, we are here because I have a very special gentleman that I want to introduce to you here today. He is a very, very good friend of mine. In fact, I've known him, I think, all the way back since 2006, 2007. If my memory serves me correctly, I believe we met in LA. It was a night out on the town. We went to the Magic Castle. It was don't tell the missus this, but it was also a Playboy Mansion party night. Just kidding. His missus, of course, was actually with us at the time, so no secrets there. But in that case, you know that it's a good time when all your internet marketing friends are actually your buddies that you hang out with, and that's exactly what it was with Gentleman. Now, unfortunately, during that party, so many cool things were going on that, you know, we hung out, we had a few drinks, we did a lot of cool stuff, and we were very, very bad at keeping in touch. Now, as fate would have it, just several months later, I believe it was in the following year, I would organize my very own event with my partners in Singapore as well as Malaysia. And at that event, it happened to be in KL. Now, just so that you know, this guy lives in Penang, coincidentally, where I am living right now. So if you think that everything happens for a reason, I absolutely believe it. But back to the story. This guy lives in Penang, and according to him, at that time, maybe he was just trying to be nice, maybe he was just trying to be friendly or something. He's like, I came all the way from Penang to KL just to see you, man. And so, of course, at that time, we kicked it off, we hung out, we talked a lot about all the cool things to the point where saying, hey, man, you know, you're here in Malaysia. I love this place, right? I think it's absolutely awesome. And he tells me that there's so much more that we can possibly explore together, that why don't we do this? In addition to all the activities that we have in KL, why don't I invite you as my guest and work together on a new project with you in my hometown of Penang? So I absolutely credit this guy. I credit this gentleman for introducing me to Penang, for bringing me here actually for the very first time. And at that time, it was you know, a brand new place for me. He was very hospitable. He took me around. He made sure that I was taken care of. And that was when we actually partnered in our first project for the very first time. And we've been amazing friends ever since. And as fate would have it, a few years later, in fact, I would plan to move into different parts of the world And eventually, I would actually settle down in Penang, and we continue to hang out. We worked on brand new projects together. He came to my wedding and everything. So we're actually really, really good buddies. And of course, as we all know, in the last couple of years, times have changed, right? We were locked down for almost a good 2 years until actually a couple of weeks ago, it was this guy's birthday. And said, hey man, we haven't hung out in so long. The last time that we did was with another friend of ours from Singapore who came into town, and that was years and years ago, right? And so with that, we said, why don't we go out for a night on town, just you and I, the two dudes, and then we sat down over a couple of beers and we talked about our past, we talked about the present, we talked about the future. Now, one thing that really shocked me, just so that you know, this gentleman is super, super successful in internet marketing, as a speaker, doing all kinds of projects that he works on. We're just in the background, by the way, talking to another one of our team members, one of our leaders in GLIVE Asia. His name is Qing Yu. Many of you have seen him and met him online as well. The thing is, the two of them actually have a house in that same area, where in Malaysia, we call it the atas area, which is the high class, right? And this guy is super successful, like a multi-million-dollar bungalow that many of us just kind of dream about and drool about, right? And this guy's just like, yeah, just my second home is where I go and hang out and stuff like that. It's not even, one of his priority places. And one thing that really, really shocked me when I talked to him was when he was telling me that, of course, the last couple of years have changed for everybody. So for me, he says, he wants to focus away from the digital marketing space. I don't know if you're familiar with digital marketing. I'm not familiar if you're familiar with all the big names, all the gurus and things like that. We're actually good friends with many of the big names. And on big projects and big platforms such as Clickbank, for example, he has multiple products that basically generate him huge, massive income every single year that pays for his lifestyle, his luxury style of living, and all the great stuff. And he tells me that he's dropping all those businesses. He's closing down all these businesses and projects because there's something even more spectacular that he wants to focus on. Can you guess what that is? Of course, if you saw the description, the title, you may have the idea. Of course, he's focusing on what we call NFT, something that's called NFT. Write that down, NFT. Put that down in the comments if you're interested to learn more about what NFT is. Because when he started talking to me about that, I was curious. Yes, I heard about NFT. I knew what it stood for, non-fungible token, but what does actually non-fungible token mean? A token that is non-fungible? It is a token that you just simply cannot funge, apparently. So what exactly is non-fungible token? You go online, you search for on Google, you watch YouTube videos. Every single person, every article, every blog, every search result is going to give you a really bad explanation of what NFT actually is. But this guy, after sitting down with them for just the first 2-3 minutes, he blew my mind. And I was like, dude, we got to talk more about this. I got to learn more from you. And that's what we are here today to talk more about. Now, just to give you a little bit more of a background on this gentleman, he found out about NFT just recently, and now he wants to really focus on going into the future with it. So instead of selling his books on Amazon, where he has been collecting checks for decades now, he stopped doing all of that, and now he's selling books as NFT instead. So that's to give you a little bit of an inkling of how exciting and how big a huge market this actually is. In fact, in the world of internet marketing, this gentleman, whom I'm very proud to call my friend, he has been an internet marketer, I believe, since 2003, 2004. He's been speaking on stages around the world since 2005. He is an internet marketing pioneer. He's been awarded the Clickbank Platinum Award for 7 years in a row, and he's going to throw away all of that to focus on the NFT project in 2022. So with all of that, I'm about to introduce to you a man who is no short of a legend in the internet marketing industry, so much so that right here in Malaysia, in Southeast Asia, one of the most high in demand speakers, most sought after, spoken at 11 countries around the world, a man that needs no introduction, best-selling author of 3 physical books, which is in bookstores right now, an internet marketing pioneer, a Clickbank Platinum 7 years worth of experience of award winner. And with all of that, I'm very proud to say he is my close personal friend, a partner, and somebody that I believe all of us can learn a whole lot about. So are you ready to learn from our special guests here today? If you are, type in the word yes, and I want to borrow your hands and give us a huge virtual round of applause and welcome to the Groove stage for the first time ever. Put your hands together and throw it all up for Mr. Patric Chan. What's up, Patric Chan? Good to see you. Welcome to Groove.
Hi, Simon. Thank you so much for your kind introductions. And it's an honor to be here together with your team and all of your followers, and of course, the Groove family members here. Thank you so much for having me together here right now. Virtual. Wow.
I know, right?
Yeah, totally. It's such a whole different experience. It's like, I don't know, it's just a very different experience compared to what we used to have when we do seminars, events, workshops, all in the offline world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, speaking of, offline worlds and things like that, just before we actually came on, we were talking about all our different experiences and talking about all the big names that we know in the industry itself.
Yeah.
And it turns out that even all the way back in the day when you were already organizing your seminar, student marketing, a lot of these names, right? They're actually attendees at those events. So that's how old school you are when it comes to internet marketing. So I don't know how many of our friends here in the Groove community actually know and see the power and the value that we have right in front of you. But it's not every day that we have a special guest like Patric. So very, very excited to have you here. Now,
Thank
of
you so
course,
much.
we're here not only to talk about NFT. I'm also personally interested to know, before we even talk about what all those things are, just a little bit about your background,
Right.
how you got started, so that our fellow Groovesters, as we like to call them,
Right.
get to know you a little bit better. What got you started into the seminar speaking space, and what made you become the superstar that you've become to this current day?
All right. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So it all started way back in 2003. And believe it or not, when I first got started, I was the typical newbie in that sense, which everybody goes through that phase. So I was trying to find ways on how to make money online. We all gone through that phase where we are always looking for all this biz op and stuff like that. So every time after I finish work, I would just go to the computer and try to Google for how to make money online and all this kind of stuff. And I would work until like 1 to 2 a.m. And I've tried every biz op out there during that time. I've tried like type at home opportunity. They say that you get paid when you type something and then you submit and you automatically gets paid. I thought that, hey, I could type every day and I could be rich. And then there's this paid surveys. I fill in like surveys, countless of surveys, and it says that, hey, if I fill in the surveys, I will be rich. And I even tried this email blaster software where it says that you pay a fee and then you get this software and they'll give you hundreds of thousands of mailing lists and then you can mail to them and then you'll be rich, all kind of stuff, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So I tried all of that and after like 8 months or so, it wasn't going anywhere until I figured out the real way of building a business. So the key takeaway is that we have to build a business to make money, not make money in that aspect. And I read a book called 1 Minute Millionaire by Robert Allen, who's a friend and a mentor who you introduced me to Robert Allen several years ago, right? Thank you for the introduction. And I read a book called 1 Minute Millionaire, and it teaches about the concept of building a list, building database, right? And about the information business. And to cut the story short, I take that concept, the idea, I would say the $1 million idea, and start put it into action. Well, of course, that time we do not know how to build web pages. There's no Groove system like what you're having right now. There's none of those, So you have to build a web page in that sense. You need to design a web page. Today, you drag and drop. You have a template base and all that good stuff. So after 8 months, I made my first sale, and I was excited and so on, right? But it only take me a few months for me to make 5 figures of income then, because the most challenging part is actually to make the first dollar, so to speak. To have that first breakthrough, to understand the true concept of building a business, to understand all of that, right? And most people don't really understand that, including myself when I first start. But once you get it, then everything seems to be easy. And then by 2004, friends starts to come to me and say, hey, you're making money online. How did you do that? And then they start asking me to teach. And then I start like running small classes in 2004, and I start teaching. And then by 2005, I got invitation to speak at seminars. And then maybe I still have this. And in 2006, if it's still show here,
Wow.
yeah, I was speaking for this event called World Internet Summit. At that time, I believe that you have spoke for them as well. So
Correct.
they came to this region as in like Singapore and Malaysia, and then they say, hey, why not you take up the World Internet Summit challenge, the live sale challenge? So I did that, and I demonstrated how to make money online, live on stage, and I did it successfully. That's how I got my award for that, right? And after that, I started speaking for other organizers and so on. And the last thing I know, I spoken like 12 countries as an authority of internet marketing. And then by 2008, I says, you know what, that's about it. I've done about that. And then I sort of just focused here in terms of the seminar business. I started putting up my own seminar, write my own books, and so on. And later on, I started to build my Clickbank business, and these are some of the awards that I've gotten from Clickbank. And this is when they started giving the plated award. Previously, they were sending paper certification, and earlier to that, they were sending email certification, right? So I got all of those. The paper ones, I think it's probably lost somewhere. So to become the reason why I'm proud of Clickbank Platinum, because it is something that cannot be manipulated, it cannot be fabricated, not like some awards that can be purchased and so on. Because to become a Clickbank Platinum, you got to make at least minimum of $250,000 US per year in Clickbank minimum. Of course, if you make millions, then of course you automatically qualify for that. So if someone wants to fabricate this, which means that they will need to make fake sales transaction up to 250,000 US dollar, imagine how many fake credit cards they will need to fabricate to win the award. So it's something that's not possible. It doesn't make sense at all. So this certifies that that we truly sell information product for that matter. But this year, in fact, end of last year is the time that we stopped Clickbank. And in fact, this year I literally decided to shut down the Clickbank business, as like we are not launching any more products. Our flagship product, we have removed it, and it's totally done in that sense. Despite that, we know how to do all this Clickbank stuff, right? Because I wanted to focus on a new direction, which is NFT. So basically, that's like a short, I would say, introduction of myself from the day I start to where I am right now in that matter.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. And every time I hear your story, there's no shortage of pride when it comes to you being my friend and things like that. Because I also remember that even when I was still working at Google, like people know me as like the Google insider, right? Wow, all the way back then when Google was brand new, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? When I was brand new in Google as an employee, Patric was brand new as an internet marketer already. He's been doing this longer than me. When I was studying different things in internet marketing, when I was trying to invest in myself, try to find things online, I ran across this guy's name. So when we first met in LA, I already knew of him. Oh, Patric Chan, our friends, our mutual friends in the internet marketing space. And by the way, that party that I was talking about, Mike Fosane was there, Tom Beal, and we had lots of like Evan Pagan, like the big names, the Rich Jerk, like all those big names from back in the day, right? It was their party, and we got invited. So it was a very unique inner circle type of group. And so when he came along, like I knew that he was in Asia somewhere, right? It's like Patric, the Patric Chan, the You Can Do It guy, right? We met in LA. I was like, oh wow, so cool. And so at that point in time, I just thought that it was super amazing because when you're talking about all the things that you have been doing and trying to learn from all the way back then, I was also learning way behind you at that, and so with all of that, I think that there's so much that we can come in terms of today, because now more than ever we're seeing more and more people who are quote unquote up and coming, right? You and I both have been a part of different communities. We've trained people, we've taught students who later on came on, and we're having a laugh about this the other night, right? People they're just like, suddenly they attend one of your classes and they themselves become an instantaneous expert, right? We call them the fake gurus in the industry. And so, like you said, your awards, right? Your prizes and all the things that you get, whether it's like email, a sheet of paper, an actual platinum award thing, those can't be faked. Ladies and gentlemen, Patric Chan is the real deal. And so with all of that being the real deal, with your history, with everything that you've been able to accomplish, I think one of the biggest questions that all of us have in our minds, the one thing that helps you to sustain a super luxurious lifestyle, to be able to, in our past lives, right, travel all around the world, and do lots of great things, spend a lot of family time with our loved ones. You threw that to the curb because you saw a much bigger opportunity. In 2022 and beyond, you're going to be focusing more on something called NFT. So I think this begs the question in everyone's mind. Number one, what exactly in NFT, the layman's term, NFT, and of course, what convinced you that this is the way to go?
Right. First of all, I'm humbled with your sharing. And before we get into sharing what NFT is in the most layman explanation, the way how I predict the thing is that things are going to change. Selling content will no longer be as how it used to be. So it is not that I just plunge into a totally different direction, but the way how I envision of selling content and courses and so on is going to change. Time has changed, trend has changed. It's no longer going to be the same as it used to be for the past 10 years. I mean, we have gone through the phase of Web 1.0, Web 2.0, where you have mastered social media very well. I just saw your Twitter, you have like 100,000 followers or some crazy amount of numbers, right? So you have mastered Web 2.0. And now we are at Web 3. So I'm seeing that things is going to change so much. So before we get into NFT, like I said, is that the way how someone is selling content, if they don't improvise their methods or evolve, I think that they will get the hit. They will experience decline in just a matter of time. Here's another hint to that. As you can see today, content is available everywhere. Like right now, this is content, and I believe that we're not charging this training, right? This class where it's going to be 100% content, right? And as you can see, to monetize content, it is not as simple as it used to be, because today we have YouTube, we have Facebook, we have webinars, and so on. So speaking of that, how does NFT blend into all of this? So let's start with the very basic of what is NFT. NFT stands for non-fungible token. I'm going to share in a way that is going to be very simplified without all the technical terms and so on, because I believe we are not in the blockchain audience here. We are more towards the marketing, business, online business audience. So which means I'm going to simplify the explanation for that. So what is non-fungible? Well, let's say cash. Like I have $50 in my hand here, US dollar. So cash is fungible, which means that if today I give my $50 to Simon, and Simon gives me his $50, right? Right, it's the same because they both carry the same value. So it is fungible. Bitcoin is fungible. Today, if you send one Bitcoin to me and I send back one Bitcoin to you, the price is the same regardless of which Bitcoin that you have. Those are all fungible. Non-fungible would simply means it is totally unique. Like for instance, the Mona Lisa painting. There's only one. There's only one authentic Mona Lisa painting which is in the museum. But the fact is there are literally thousands of replicates, right? Now, the Mona Lisa painting is what we call non-fungible token because there could be only one owner. Again, in this case, the owner will belongs to the museum in that sense. So when it comes to non-fungible token, imagine that now you can somehow technically make your customer or your collector to own your digital product. So that's what an NFT is. In another way of looking at it, today you'll be able to give ownership of a digital product to someone else. And an NFT could be an image, could be an audio clip, could be a full video, could be text, it could be anything that's digital. So that's the part where it becomes very, very, very exciting. Like to extend from here, like this entire training that we're doing here right now, this class, this online workshop, can be an NFT. So that's basically the explanation of what NFT is. And NFT, it is basically authentic with blockchain technology. So how do someone say, hey, you know, how do I verify that this belongs to me? How do I verify that this image belongs to me? Well, it goes through the blockchain. That's where Web3 gets involved. So when I transfer to you an NFT or when you purchase an NFT, it is being authentic by the blockchain technology so that everyone in the world can see that. So there's a ledger listed inside the blockchain. So it is the proof that, hey, now you own this digital product.
Wow. Okay, so that's a very interesting explanation, and I think you explained it in a very similar way last time as well. And it was very interesting as well because when you explained it to me, you weren't just talking about it. You were showing me your accounts, you were showing me all the different places what the blockchain actually what is and all those things. And one thing that was really interesting to me though, it's not just a matter of finding something and buying something because you can do that on a physical product. You can do that on like the Mona Lisa, as you mentioned, right? But what exactly is, I would say, the most interesting way and the biggest reason that people would want to collect these NFTs? Like, is it because of investment? Is it mostly because of fun? What kind of things are they usually looking for? What's usually their primary reason for starting with NFT in the first place?
All right, so there's two worlds. There's one, the one who mint the NFTs, means like the artists who say sell the digital arts, and then there are the collectors who buy the digital arts. So the question is that why would someone buy a digital art when they can just save as the image and download the entire image into the computer, right? So we must understand that the concept here goes beyond selling the image. The concept here is thinking the same concept as in like a physical product, and you are actually buying that to own it. So I'm going to go more in depth into this, but let's start with the first part.
Before you go into depth, more into depth, we see Alicia Little, our good friend, saying you can do. You remember Alicia, right?
Yes.
She's saying you can do it. Just giving you a shout out. Your biggest fan, she's saying Patrick is your biggest fan. Of course, we know Alicia from the live events that we do, and we're really all really good friends as well. So Alicia is also a part of the Groove community, and she's giving you a shout out, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you, Alicia. It's good to see you here in the Groove community. Alicia rocks. She's an awesome lady, right? So I was saying about why would someone actually buy the NFT, right? The first thing is that one of the main reason when it all got started is that they were supporting the artists. So for instance, right, let's say, Simon, you are an artist, right? And I want to show my support towards a friend. So I would buy your art. Just like in the offline world, if you are an artist, you have a gallery, your friends will buy your art because they want to express appreciation towards your work, or they simply want to support you as a friend. and so on. Or sometimes people buy that to say, hey, you know, I'm one of your customers, so they can get closer to the artists and those who actually created the NFTs. So that's one of the reasons to do that. Now, it's hard to so-called accept the reality that you are buying something digital, but you own it. So that's like the biggest thing in my mind when I first got started. I could not accept the fact that why would I buy something that's digital that anyone can get it? The only thing, the only difference is that officially I own it. So I even got started by buying several of the NFTs, which I've shared with you that time, just to understand the psychology of it. When I started buying several NFTs, I started to understand, all right, there's a whole different phenomenon going on that when you collect it, you feel like an owner. So you own it, right? If you look at the art world in the offline world, it is also common that they actually buy the art for collection, but they did not receive the art. Like the art is kept in some vault. It's just transfer of ownership. But the art, it is still in the vault. They never go and take the vault. They never go and take the art, the painting, and put it in their house, right? It's the same concept to a certain degree. The second reason why someone would actually buy an NFT is for the monetary aspect, in a sense that an NFT would also be a type of digital asset. And in fact, I would say this is like the new digital asset that can become very valuable. So let's look at digital asset, or let's look at assets in general. So when it comes to asset, it means of a product that you, or investment that you invested, and there's a value to that, that there's a resale value to it. Now, there are all kinds of assets today, but why digital asset? Now, digital asset, one of the key thing is liquidity. It means that it's very easy for you to liquidate off, in the sense that you can sell it off compared to like real estate. And NFT is basically the product for those people who have cryptos, like Ethereum, Bitcoin, and so on. So let's say someone have Ethereum, or they call it ETH. Now, why are you gonna buy with ETH? There's nothing much you can actually buy in the world with crypto. But NFTs is the product that you can buy with your cryptos. So people will start to buy NFTs that are promising, that can goes up in value, and they start acquiring that as a digital asset. To give you some examples, like totally extreme examples, right? Like the blue chips of NFTs today would be like Bored Ape, and the latest news is Kevin Hart, the comedian, has just purchased the latest Bored Ape and joined the amount of 10,000 Bored Apes. And I think he spent over 200,000 US dollar for
Wow.
technically an image, right? But it is not really an image for that matter. But I think he sees that as not just the image, but as also a kind of investment. Jimmy Fallon, the famous talk show, has also purchased a Bored Ape. Now, these are the blue chips of NFTs. Of course, there are a lot more NFTs today. In fact, every day there are hundreds of thousands of NFTs being released, because technically it doesn't take much effort to mint an NFT. It is just like every day there are new pages being created. Every day there are new domain names being acquired, right? But will these domain names become successful, profitable? No, it doesn't mean that. Unless the domain name is like business.com, simon.com, and so on, right? Otherwise, there's no value to it. So same thing with NFTs. Doesn't mean NFTs has value. It is how the NFTs are being promoted, being marketed, who is behind the project, who are the creators, and so forth, that makes it become valuable to that degree. So those are the earlier stage reasons why people are buying NFTs. But what I see, it's another different way of how to put NFT into practical usage. And that is by combining it with content. And that's where it gets me really excited. But before I get into that, right, is there any questions or anything that needs to be clarified before I get into the exciting part of that?
Yeah, and that's a really great point as well. And if you have any questions, by the way, while we do have the Patric Chan on with us live here at GLive, definitely let us know if you have any questions for him, any clarification that you need, because it's going to be a very, very exciting road as it continues to share all about NFT and all the possibilities. But you don't want to be left behind if you don't know what's going on. And just so that you know, Patric, I mean, thinking about what you mentioned before, right? The credibility aspect is definitely very important. It's not just some fly-by-night fad that, it's only a temporary trend type of thing. You're talking about, celebrities who are buying all these different NFTs. It's actually a thing where people are investing, and it is something that has given them a huge return on investment. In fact, I think you were telling me the other day that, with big companies, billion-dollar brands such as Adidas, Marvel, Budweiser, Gucci, right? These are all companies that have adapted NFT into their arsenal, into their collections, created their own digital products up into the market as well. So, if you're not doing this, you're going to be left behind at the very, very least. Definitely know what it is all about and how you can get started with something like that. I think one that we do want to address, I don't know if you're going to be addressing this later on, but it is a very good question. Obviously, people are very excited about the NFT already, but how do you actually register for one?
All right, okay. So speaking of the big brands, so in fact, I tried to buy Adidas NFT when it's launched, but there's no chance, right? So any low price NFTs, like they just go in like at the floor price. Truth is, I'm not here to disappoint people, but it's very unlikely you are able to buy in time. Like Adidas sold 30,000 of their NFTs within minutes, like 30,000 at I think 0.2 Ethereum, which is about at that time about $1,000 for about $800, right? Within minutes, right? It is not that we don't want to buy, we just don't get a chance to buy. Like I used to have, it's not that I still have, like I purchased some Marvel NFTs previously before it became hot, right? And today, that same NFT will have cost thousands when I purchased for just $100. So it's really hard to get into the floor price for like good brands and things like that, right? This is like a separate note that I just bring up because we talk about Adidas, Marvel, and so on. But speaking of how you actually get an NFT is that you can go to the site called OpenSea.io and you can go there and buy an NFT. So let's say if
How
you
do you spell OpenSea?
OpenSea.io.
Open OPENSEA or SEE?
OpenSea.io.
Okay, so we'll
So
type that into the
that
chat.
is like the eBay of NFTs today. And of course, there are other marketplaces like crypto.com NFT. Then there's Nfts and so on. But the one that we are focusing on is mostly on OpenSea.io. Now, here's the thing is that I am not the expert when it comes to like how to buy and sell, right? Because that's not the game that I'm in. I'm in the game of being a creator because that is basically my credibility, my experience, my skill for the past almost 2 decades. So when I saw NFT, I was thinking that how can creators leverage on the NFT platform successfully? And that's what gets me really excited, and for everybody here at the same time, because one way or the other, you are also a creator. So the definition of creator could be, you could be an author, you could be a writer, you could be a musician, you could be an artist, you could be a dancer, you could be a consultant, you could be a trainer, you could be social media curator, someone who produce content for that matter. And if you are a creator, you can mint. That is the term that they use, mint. Mint means create in their jargon. You can mint your own NFT by going to OpenSea.io as well. So OpenSea.io is the platform for NFT. like I said, like an eBay. You can sell in eBay or you can buy in eBay. It's the same concept. So it's the same process. You go there, set up your profile account, then you upload your NFT to be sold there, and someone can actually buy your NFT for that matter.
That's awesome. So basically, for all the questions started coming in regards to why NFT, what is NFT, why would you want to get something like that? What are the benefits and all that? Go to what is it, OpenSea.io, because that's where we're gonna get a lot of the basics in terms of the fundamentals of what you need to learn about the NFT in general. But I think because Patric is here with us, his time is definitely much better spent on a little bit of a higher level stuff, the opportunities that he sees in this for us as creators, especially if we're all part of the Groove community. We got access to this awesome software and the education. How can we take the full advantage of everything that we have, combine that with the knowledge that Patric has on NFT, and really just create one huge, amazing, brand new business model so that we can model after what Patric is doing with his 2022 plan as well. So the more exciting things, definitely interested to know what your plans are, Mr. Patric. Please share.
Right. I think that NFTs are for creators. So earlier we shared why would someone buy NFT. I wouldn't use the word main, sorry. Two reasons is they want to be a supporter. They want to be a supporter because they like you, right? Like for instance, someone may buy Paris Hilton NFT for $1 million because they like Paris Hilton. They want to say, hey, I'm your VIP client. I'm willing to spend $1 million for your NFT. The second reason as an investment, as a new digital asset, like Kevin Hart just bought Ape NFT for over $200,000 US. And what goes in his mind, I don't know. But many people would have purchased that, right, for the aspect that, hey, maybe bought app NFT could rise more in value. Same with CryptoPunk and so on, right? Then there's the third reason of why someone would buy NFT. And that is where it gets me really excited for our community, which is none other than having a token pass. Now, just think of it this way. If, let's say, me as a creator, and I sell my content, as in a book, courses, and so on, what if that I can now allow my customer to have full ownership of a digital product that they have purchased right now? So the keyword here is ownership. So they're no longer just buying my book, but they're actually buying the NFT of the book, where now they get access to the book as well. So think of it this way, right? As a customer, would you prefer to just buy my book or buy my NFT where you also get the book right now? So this is very powerful if we understand this concept of true ownership for the customer. Now, this will change the game dramatically in two ways. One, it's how content is being sold. So earlier, I was just sharing with everybody here, selling content will become harder in times to come because not just competition, but there are abundance of free content right now. Now, this is one reason that when I say this, I don't want to step on anybody's content. So just to make it clear that I don't believe in selling, to my heart, I don't believe in selling courses for $1,000. I don't believe I can deliver that value for that, because in my heart, I know that they could probably find the same level of content, right, in $100 course. Now, of course, if $1,000 cost,
you are very, very humble, Mr. Patric. You have much more value than you give yourself credit for, but I digress. Move on.
Thank you. Right. But of course, if the cost comes with coaching, software solutions, and all this kind of stuff, it's a very different game altogether, right? And then the abundance of free courses available today, like in youtube.com, podcasts, like you're with Simon here. It is over delivering by giving you all the experts advice and so on, right? So what's the next level of the game in order for you to make your content more valuable? Is to give pure ownership, true ownership to your customers. So that's one thing, which means that now they are, I would say, your genuine customers. And when that happens, if they own the NFTs, it means that they have a byproduct from the content. Now, here's the interesting part that I want to say. I'm going to go a little bit slower. Which one is the byproduct? The content or the NFT? It's a trick question. Either one can be the byproduct because it depends on how you promote the product itself or the NFT. And the second reason why I say that this will change the game is that if they are your NFT owners, you know exactly how many customers that you have. Everything can be tracked in the blockchain technology, which means that if you want to reward your customers differently, you will be able to do that. You can do true, I would say, genuine limited units today. So when you are able to change the game with blockchain right now, do you see that you have just made your content to become much more valuable? So like for instance, for me, what I started off with right now is that I launched Patric NFT. Patric NFT will be like the main project that will launch different kind of NFTs. So the first one that we mint is the Wake Up Millionaire NFT collection. And that's basically inspired by my best-selling book called Wake Up Millionaire. So when I saw the NFT opportunity, I said, you know what, I'm not going to have my book available in Amazon anymore. Although I've been collecting checks. I said, you know what, that's it. I don't want to collect all these checks because now I want my customers to own the book, not just get the content of the book. So Wake Up Millionaire NFT will allow them to get access to the book, will get access to the Wake Up Millionaire NFT community, which leads to more opportunities, whether to learn more from the content or NFTs opportunity. And the third, they will also be subscribed to Patric Weekly Newsletter, which is my paid newsletter that I write every month. Now, but the key thing here is that when they do that, they own the NFT. So as time goes by, as Patric NFT, the key project continue to expand and so on, right? All of these NFTs that they own could also rise in value, which means that they are not just invested in the content, but they are also invested in a new form of digital asset. So the investment is not just to themselves, but technically it's financially. And if this digital asset price goes rise in value, not only that they would not have the content for free if they decide to sell it, but once they sell it, they will lose all the access, they will lose their privileges, they will lose their token pass. But it can also appreciate in many times more in value. So a classic example, which I admire, would be Gary Vaynerchuk's NFT project called VFriends. So when it first launched, VFriend was one ETH, one Ethereum. And if you get that, you will get VCon Pass, where you can attend his conference for 3 years or 1 year. Can't really remember that. And some additional bonuses. One ETH is about 3,000 to 4,000 US dollar. Now, if you purchase that, you will not lose anything because the content, the VCon tickets and everything else is probably worth the 3,000 to 4,000 US dollar, right? So you're just buying for the content for that matter if you don't believe in NFT. But what happened is that Gary continued to build the VFriends project, the NFT project. And today, a VFriend NFT at minimum, I would say as this time of right now, will probably cost about 8 ETH, which is about $32,000, right? And if someone did get in that time for 1 ETH, and now it goes up to 8 ETH, that's 8x return in less than 2 years. So it's totally incredible in that sense. So if you are invested in the right creator that pursue this, like go all out, then chances are the value of the NFT to increase will be really, really high. So I want to focus that everything to be focused on this because the ultimate vision is that all of our customers will own our NFTs. So whether it's going to be book, whether it's going to be courses, whether it's going to be event pass and everything else. And I will just continue to serve my community of NFTs owners so that they can also benefit from the relationship, the content. But also if they decided, hey, you know what, I'm done learning, I don't think I need to read your book anymore, thanks for that. I'm now a billionaire. I'm very successful. I know how to do internet marketing. I know everything. That's fine. And I like to sell my pass. That's great. Just go to OpenSea and sell the NFT, right? So if you buy for, let's say, just $100, and right now you sell for $50, hey, you still get back $50. But what if you buy for $100 and now you're able to sell for $1,000? That's very high return. So I hope
Yeah.
that I'm not talking too fast, but sort of paint the big picture, the
Yeah,
strategy
no, it is
I did.
definitely very, very informative. And I think you break it down in a very easy to understand way, especially to all of us who are here within the Groove community, where we are creators, we're content creators, we like to share. We have a lot of value that we also like to bring. And so this is almost like you're not really sacrificing or doing anything instead of what you previously been doing. If you have value to share, if you would want to write books, you want to do training, you want to do any type of online educational value that you've been doing anyway, right? They can all be NFTs, like the music, the videos, the online courses, the books that Patric, that you've been talking about. And so with all of that, it really doesn't boil down too much into like a complete career path change or business change. In fact, it's just a slightly different medium of sharing and making sure that you
Right.
get your message across to a brand new audience, or in a much more effective way, in a method in which your audience, your customers can now also own a piece of what you're doing as well. So it's, in addition to just the educational value, it's also an investment, right? An
Right.
investment which can also give them a big return on investment. And I think it was really interesting. And if you're okay with sharing a couple different things, like some of the different things that you might have shown me in terms of examples of NFT, about the real world price increase of
Mhm.
what can actually happen, even when you're testing stuff out, or maybe if you want to even share more from your pages, your
Right.
own NFT content, and how people can collect your NFT content. I think those would be great examples to increase the understanding of that for a lot of our fellow Groovesters as
Mhm.
well.
Right. So I will be able to give a much simpler example. You can check out wakeupmillionaire.com/NFT. So that is for those who are not in the blockchain world. You are not familiar with Web3 and you have never purchased an NFT before. wakeupmillionaire.com/NFT is where you can acquire my NFT right now off the blockchain platform. And this is for you, for yourself right now. Other than that, you can go to OpenSea and purchase with Ethereum, with the cryptocurrency for that sense. Now, the key thing here is that if you go to the webpage, it sort of explains to you what is an NFT and how it works and what you will get, the token pass and so on. And I feel that if you want to learn how to also turn your products, your digital content, your digital products, your ebooks, your memberships and everything, right? I would say that do consider to get Wake Up Millionaire NFT, because that's probably the best way for you to learn by experiencing it. So like when I first get started, I purchased NFT just to understand how this industry actually works. How does the process work? How is it being delivered? Then I learned about Discord and everything else. So you can definitely check that out, and that will be a good place for you to begin with. And as a customer, you also know what will be the next project that I'll be doing, what is the strategy, how we're going to do the marketing, how do we serve our collectors and everything else. I think that would be a shortcut if you want to explore about NFT for that matter.
Wow, absolutely awesome. And I know that at the end of the day, you are a marketer. I mean, we've known each other, feels like forever. I mean, I think I was 10 and you were 11 when we first met. Just kidding. But definitely we got like 15, 16 years of friendship. And so I know that marketing is in the core of your blood. I know that you're going to be a marketer, you're going to be a content creator, you're going to be a speaker, trainer, probably for the rest of your life, because you just love sharing so much and providing that value. So I think that, this is just the beginning for sure. NFT is just at the cutting edge of one of the biggest things that we're going to be doing. And since we're just really in the first month of 2022, I think we will be absolutely honored, of course, to have you come back and share more with us. We have a lot of mutual friends in this community, and I know that there's a lot of different reasons why, we might not always do the same things or be at the same events and things like that. I mean, it is a cutthroat world, right? Let's just face it. There's internet marketers who are friends but frenemies because they're competitors in the professional game. But it's never personal. We always love each other, have huge respect. It's just that sometimes it makes more sense for us to be doing individual things. But when it comes to the sharing of value, when it comes to helping people, and even back then when we're also in our own communities, we talked about achieving freedom and creating freedom, right? While helping others as well. I think it all boils down to the exact same thing, the exact same vision, the exact same mission that we have, which is to, at the end of the night, help each other and make sure that we grow the best group of community members, aspiring entrepreneurs, and success stories of the world. And with that, I think that is the core of both you and I. That is something that will never ever change. And so with that, we are approaching the top of the hour already. Can't believe that we've been talking for an hour so far, but there's so much more, obviously, that we will want to continue to learn from you, to share with you. Before we let you go, how can we learn more about you? What's the best way to connect with you? Some websites that you shared with us a little bit earlier, can we, share them again so that I can show them on the screen and let people know what's the best possible way to connect with the Patric Chan?
Right. Thanks for sharing that. So if you want to learn more about NFT, the first one would be to go to wakeupmillionaire.com/NFT. Whether you want to get the NFT or not is totally up to you. If you want to learn, and if you feel that, hey, Patric knows what he is doing, I better get in during the floor price before this whole thing becomes big, you can definitely go there and grab it now. This is a long-term project. If you are a money grab person that, hey, you're not buy now or flip tomorrow, don't get it. This is not for you. This is something for you to get in whole, appreciate the book, appreciate the community, and let the NFT value to go up by itself for me working at the back, because this entire year I'll be doing a lot of content marketing, all kind of stuff, and I'll be sharing this with all my collectors and so on. So do get that if you feel that. The other part that you can check out is basically my Facebook page at fb.com/Patric Chan live. So I do update stuff there as well. You can definitely check that out too. So those will be the stuff there. If you go to Patric Chan live as the Facebook there, and then there should be links to my other trainings if you want. Like for instance, next week, if you're watching this replay, then it will be a bit too late. But next week, as you can see in the Facebook page there, I'll be releasing 3 new video training about NFTs soon. So the details will all be there.
Yeah, time is definitely of the essence, as you can see. That's why, by the way, we got to take fast action on everything that we do, especially when it comes to subscribing and, liking us on Facebook, on YouTube, connecting with us on social media, turning on those notifications, because as you can see, from time to time, we do have these time-sensitive surprises, especially special guests, where if you miss that notification, if you miss out on Join Us Live, then you wouldn't have had the opportunity to learn from Patric, to ask the questions that many of our fellow groupers had for them, and of course to connect with Patric on his social media to get some time-sensitive information and training content that's coming up in just a few days' time as well. So with all of that, I think we owe definitely Mr. Patric Chan a huge note of gratitude. I know that you are very, very busy with your time, but of course, at any possible other opportunity where we will be able to have the pleasure, the honor, the privilege to welcome you back into the Groove community, I'm sure many of us would more than love to hear from you and learn from you once again. So any parting words, Mr. Patric, before we let you go?
That's a saying by Jack Ma, that, or it could be an old Chinese saying as well is that we always fix the rooftop during sunny day. So which means that whatever that we're doing here right now, we want to do it right now before that things happen. So if you see the opportunity with Web3, blockchain, NFTs, it's a good time for you to get started. Not when everybody else is already talking about it and doing it, then you're not following the same philosophy anymore. And I think, do I need to do answer any questions, or we can skip that, Simon?
We absolutely can. If you see any questions, or if Qing you in the back, if you see any questions that you've identified earlier, I'm just seeing personally a lot of thank yous from Harold, from Alicia, from Madhu, from Michelle, Liney, all the way from the Philippines. We got Chanel in India, Dwight, our Singaporean friends, Shen Ling Chen, and Queen Bees in Canada, Jeffrey Hunter. I mean, you have so many people who are just so appreciative. I'm just trying to scroll through, trying to find the questions, but all I'm seeing is a whole bunch of thank you, Patrick. So, Qing Yu, do you see any questions in the back that you would like to address? Actually, we do see something that might be important from Andre. I don't see an order form or order button on your page. Which page are you talking about, Andre? If you can clarify. But if you're going to talk about what Alicia mentioned over here, which is wakeupmillionaire.com/NFT, I believe that there is, if I'm not mistaken, an order button, which is, let me go ahead and share the screen again. Right over here, you can see, whoops, where did it go?
Probably has to wait a few minutes for the order button to appear because we want them to understand what they are buying. This product is a bit different. We want them to basically know, hey, you know what you're getting, and that's why we delay the button so that they watch the video first. But if not, you can scroll to the bottom there. There should be a small text called order now or something like that, and you can click on that.
Yes, it's pre-order today, but it looks like Andre was on the wrong website. He was on the main website. You need to go to the NFT section, which is where you see on the page right now. Let's go ahead and click on that again. So you can see right there on a page where Alicia just left the comments. Make sure that you go to wakeupmillionaire.com/NFT. If you somehow miss out on the /NFT, then you're going to miss out on the actual page again. Okay, so let's see. We got Karen all the way in Atlanta saying thank you to you, Patrick. Curtis is also saying thank you. And then Nicholas is clarifying that the buy now link is at the bottom of the page, which of course it's not, don't get us wrong. It is not a sales or anything like that. This is basically sharing with you the process, the same process that Patrick went through, the same process that all of us would need to go through. If you want to learn more about NFT, if you yourself want to be a content creator, you also want to do your own NFT sales in the future, of course, there's going to be something that you absolutely would need to know about, which is the process itself. So we just want to invite you to be more familiar with it. And then Facebook user, I think this question came up a few times. You did mention, Patrick, that you spoke a little bit fast, and I speak fast as well. It's just us, it's our nature, because our minds are moving a million miles an hour, and we're just trying to get out as much information as we can. So a lot of people are asking, will there be a replay? And the answer is yes. Absolutely. As Alicia says, let the video play. Once the video is over, actually, I don't know if she's talking about the NFT or whatever else, but the same concept over here. If you're watching us on Twitter, you're watching us on Facebook, you're watching us on Instagram, you're watching us on Twitch, you're watching us on YouTube, wherever it is that you're watching right now, as soon as this video is over, there will be a replay option for you to watch this again. Once that's rendered, once that's uploaded, you'll be able to see it exactly where you're watching right now. All right, so hopefully that answers your question. Andre is saying, oh, yep, there's probably the timer thing. Andre, by the way, is in Belgium, I believe. So you do, in fact, have a very global audience. Congratulations, Mr. Patrick. I think this is one of the most interactive that we've had globally wise in a very long time. So that just goes to show, your information, your credibility, your authority in the field, and a lot of people are very, very excited about what you're sharing. Groove Pages Training, Mr. Nicholas is asking you, what software are you using to make your NFTs?
Right. So if we are not programmers and technical driven person, we can use the available marketplace like OpenSea.io. So if you go there, you sell your account, then you can use that platform to mint an NFT. So basically, once you mint in OpenSea, someone can go to OpenSea and buy it from you there. And once they purchase it, it will be added. They can see that in their OpenSea, but technically it's through another technology called the MetaMask wallet. So you need to have a MetaMask wallet. I know the reason why I am pausing to answer this because I don't want to make it sound too technical and then we sort of lose the whole thing. You see where I'm coming from? But you need to have a MetaMask account to have your crypto wallet in order for you to buy an NFT. However, in OpenSea, if let's say you mint your NFT in, if I'm not mistaken, in Polygon blockchain, then someone can actually purchase through credit card. But the credit card doesn't really purchase like with Master or Visa. I think it goes through MoonPay, goes through something going on at the back of the engine so that you can buy that. But generally, someone will use crypto to buy your NFT. So this is also one of the reasons that I hope that that I can share with you how I go through the entire process. If you're also my collector, then it makes it easier to see how I'm doing that so that you can so-called model that. And truth is that if you see the price of the NFT that I'm offering, it's really, really, really low. Not just for the content, but for the educational aspect and everything else. Because my strategy is not to make money by doing this NFT. It's a long-term project. So this is the initial launch right now at this really low floor price so that we can kickstart and build up the momentum, build up the community and so on. Again, this is all for strategic reason and for long-term purpose. So I hope that sort of answer to you. In short, just go to OpenSea.io if you want to have the so-called software to create an NFT.
Yep, hopefully that helps to answer your question, Mr. Nicholas. And one of our VAs, actually, her name is Liney. She is on the screen right now asking a question. In fact, she works really closely with us in our community. She helps a lot on a lot of our artwork. She actually did a lot of design work as well. So I know for a fact that she's also very creative. And I don't know if you're connected with Liney, Patrick, but a couple of weeks ago, I actually saw that she was promoting one of your links on her page. So I think you have a fan over here, not just with Liney, but many fellow Groove community members here as well. But Liney is here and she's with you live. I'm sure she's very excited to see you here. And she's asking, if I have a physical artwork, how can I make it an NFT, or is it possible?
Yes, you can. In fact, my next NFT drop project is going to be called the Marine Rise Collection NFT. It's kind of, I think it's kind of fun. It's basically we are digitalizing all of my daughter's artwork into digital art and then turn them into NFTs to be offered online in that sense. So you can definitely convert that into digital art.
Wow, there's something new. And I think we all have those, right? Whether it's on our walls or on our couches or just on the floor somewhere, there's always kids' artwork somewhere around the house. You'll know this when you have kids, and Patrick knows all too well. He has 3 of them. And then we have another friend here, Adibo, is asking 2 questions, in fact. If they're relevant, maybe you can see if they're along the lines of what we're talking about here. Question number 1, what type of cryptocurrency are they using in NFT? And question number 2 is, are we trading in NFT, or how do we as regular people make money there?
Okay, so good question. I'm going to address both of that right now, but I'm going to address the second question in a more elaborated way because I don't want you to get the wrong idea. The first part is that you use Ethereum to buy NFTs. That's the first question. This is very straightforward. So Ethereum, you can just go to Coinbase.com. You can go to many crypto exchange website to buy your cryptos. But that's like a whole different story. That's like crypto stuff. The second part is that, right? Are we trading in NFT? I want to clarify that there are people who do that, but it's not something that I do it. I'm not encouraging or discouraging, but I don't see NFTs as a trading mechanism. I don't see it as like how to make money stuff. I like to see it as a very long-term project. So like when I launch my NFT project, my goal is to work really, really, really hard for my collectors so that they will be rewarded in times to come. Could be months, could be years, or it may not work, right? But I'm going to go all out to do my very best. So I want you to think of it more as a very long-term project. And it's just like if you see an art, right? And then you buy that because you like the art. Not because you say, hey, I'm going to make money from the art. But you like the art and then you can think, okay, this art has potential from that in return. So the reason why I want to elaborate this, because it's very dangerous to go into the mentality of, hey, NFTs is hot. I'm just going to go and buy and try to make money the next day and things like that. Because you could lose a lot of money. You could lose a lot of money. There are so many projects, collections out there today, and everyone will when I use the word everyone, I'm just labeling in that sense, will have their own pitch. Like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and things like that. But are those going to be a reality? Are they going to go all out for it? So to give you example, just from my personal opinion, I could be 100% wrong because I don't want you to take my words for it. I'm just sharing with you how I feel. Like Adidas. If I can, I want to own the NFT because Adidas is a mainstream brand. It's $1 billion brand. And I feel that, I can't lose much in that sense, right? If I can acquire that. But let's say BTS, which is the sensational K-pop band, they're planning to release their NFTs. Now, I would think twice to buy the NFT. And if you are a BTS fan, I don't want you to throw some rotten tomato at me. I'm just sharing with you my opinion in terms of marketing perspective, right? Because BTS has so many stream of incomes, right? They're making millions from performance, merchandising, sponsorship, and so on. Is NFT just going to be one of their many income streams where they're doing it because it's the trend right now? That's the first thing, right? So which means that will they spend the time to build the community? Will they spend the time to build the NFTs? Will they have more minting? Will they have token passes and all those kind of stuff? The second thing is that, right, what if the band dissolve next year or next month? Somebody say, I want to get married and I don't want to do a band anymore, whatever it is, right? What happened with that? What if BTS brand just disappeared tomorrow, right? So those are all the questions there. So you get to see who are behind the project. Is this going to be a money grab, which there's nothing wrong with that because some people make a lot of money through that? Or is it more where the creator is going to go for a long term? Like Gary Vee, for instance. I always say Gary Vee as an example because I like what he is doing. And when someone is doing it well, we must always credit that. Like Gary Vee is out there shouting, right? Saying that, hey, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my days. So with his global brand, do you think that he will back off? Would you think that after he makes these millions and then he's going to stop doing it? No, because he has already put his brand and his name on the line. And it took him decades to reach this level. He's not going to sacrifice just to make a few millions. Actually, more than a few millions, many millions, right? But I don't think he will put his brand on the line. So going back to this is that if you want to trade, you got to spend the time to really learn about this. You got to go to Twitter, follow people, join Discord, and all this kind of stuff. Just like if you want to buy stocks, you're not going to buy because someone whispered to you, say, hey, this is going to make money. But you got to know what's going on, what's the company is all about, what are the products the company is selling, and so forth. That is a very elaborated answer.
Wow, definitely much more than we can chew. Very, very advanced answer. Hopefully that helps to answer your question, but definitely an over delivery, something that Patric is definitely no stranger to. So thank you very much, Patric, for that. Group Pages Training is asking what is minting. I think you were sharing about that earlier.
Mm-hmm. Minting is basically two things. The first one is basic creating it, and it's called minting. Like if you create an NFT, you mint an NFT. But it can also be used as the term when you buy an NFT that you mint an NFT.
Yep. So basically the fundamentals. So go back to I'm sure at OpenSea.io they have a lot more information about that as well. Ching Yu is asking any royalty splits in the back end with you as the creator as your NFT gets traded further down the road.
Yes. So that is the main purpose why NFT is going to help all artists in this world if they adapt towards that. So in the offline world, in the conventional world, so let's say you have a nice art, let's say whatever art that you have, something, you created that and it's sold for, say, 25,000 US dollar, and you're very happy about that. And then this owner who purchased that for $25,000, 10 years later on, he was able to sell for $2.5 million. The original artist doesn't get anything anymore, right? I mean, that's how the offline world works, and that's how the artist industry is. So as an artist, the unfortunate part is that you wouldn't know how to price your product in the beginning. And even if you become famous in the future, whatever you have sold in the past, you will have lose it in that sense. As in, like, it cannot fetch the price that it's worth. But not in an NFT world. And this is why artists is best to leverage on NFT platform, because today you can put a royalty to it. So every future transactions that happen, you will still get royalty for it, for whatever you have created since day one.
Very, very interesting. Cool. So hopefully that helps to answer your question. Xingyu Liney has a follow-up question. Wow. So what tool can I use to make it digitize?
Well, as strange as it sounds, you just need this to digitalize it.
All you need is a smartphone. So maybe does OpenSea.io help you to digitalize your content and make them non-fungible?
It does make it non-fungible, but the content it's digitalized by your own way, whether you use a phone to take a picture, whether you use your computer to make the digital art and so on. And then OpenSea will make it non-fungible token for you.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, I mean, just like with everything else, obviously, it's a overview explanation of the different kind of tools and sources and resources and software that you might need. But of course, if we do want more elaborate training, obviously, that's going to be another day, another time, if there is a demand for it. So, do you want to learn more about NFT from Patric? If you do, definitely let him know inside the comments. Let's take a couple more questions. A last couple final ones here. Nicholas is asking, are you aware of any gasless NFT marketplaces? A little more advanced in terms of questions and things like that, but maybe you want to explain a little bit more about what that means and if you are aware of those kinds of marketplaces.
Right. Now, at this moment, I don't really know specifically because I don't explore that, but we must also understand the whole ecosystem of how NFT work. So in order for the technology to be sustainable, there must be a gas fee. So anyway, when I give you answer, anybody's answer, I hope you understand that I always come from a different perspective in a way that I want you to understand a bigger picture. It's just like if you use Groove, because I know we're in a Groove family, you cannot expect like to use certain features and say, hey, can this be free? You cannot expect that. You need to pay a monthly fee for it or an annual fee for that specific feature, right? Like on top of whatever that you have. Simply because there are costs incurred to do that. Like the company will still need to have server costs, employees, and so on and things like that for that to operate. So going back to here, the way how blockchain works is that instead of the money is given to the big tech companies, it is distributed back to the people. And that's how decentralized technology works. So that's what the gas fee is. It's because someone in Iceland or US, in China, anywhere around the world, it is helping you to authentic the transaction, right? And that's where the gas fee comes into the picture. So why I explain this is because the way how we do anything is always to be strategic and try to understand how the system actually works. So there's no point to look for a gasless NFT marketplace, so to speak, because I don't think it will be sustainable even though if that exists. Because who is doing the decentralization of that marketplace in that sense?
Right. Makes perfect sense. Thank you for that. One final question we got from Annie is she's asking how to reward your collectors and how to increase the value for my own NFT.
So I'm trying to explain it in a way that in terms of business aspect or technically. So how do you reward collectors? Basically, technically, this is where you use OpenSea so that you have the blockchain and you know who buy your NFTs, and you can use Discord and all this kind of stuff. This goes into deeper rabbit holes because it has to do with programming, development, and so on, right? But the other question, how do you increase the value of your own NFT? It goes back to the same thing what Simon is doing, what I'm doing, what you're doing, things like that. It's all about building your brand, right? It's all about building the value that you can give to the customers. So it falls back to the same marketing or business understanding that you have been trained with, right? Because if you have the brand, it means that people will trust what you're offering to them, and therefore the value will be higher in that sense.
Yeah, ultimately, it's all about the value. It's all about your own intentions. In fact, I believe that if you have the intention to really provide that value, you want to make sure that people are getting the best bang for their buck. You know that you want to educate them. You're passionate about sharing and producing your content. Then usually that's where it is the fundamental of where you need to start. Don't create it just for the sake of creating it. Don't just try to do something for the sake of making money. As we mentioned earlier, we have way too many people in our industries, no shortages of people who came from within our own communities that we're seeing them doing things again and again and again, and it's not going to last very long. You know, you want to be one of the veterans, you want to be one of the pioneers like Patrick. We've known each other for 15, 16 years now. That's crazy, right? And you want to be around for another 15, 16, 20, 25, 30 years or more doing these kinds of things, then you must know what your own values are. You must know, what your intention is when it comes to the marketplace, and that is to deliver that value and really to be helping people and things like that. And so with everything, Patrick, that you're giving with our communities and everyone else's, I know for a fact that this is along the same lines of what we had been talking about and what we want to do. And just so that you know, before we wrap up, it is very rare that in the industry that you find somebody who shares those similar kinds of value as you, who would be willing to share to their communities. It was really funny because, for many, many years, just like Patrick, I also travel around the world, play the role of a speaker and share things like that. But over the last few years, I also, just like Patrick himself, also have been doing my own event organization. And it was really interesting because the more that we did events last year, we were thinking, in the world where so many things have changed, it's almost unfair, right, for us to want to ask speakers who are very good at what they're doing, but then we're telling them, actually, this is not the seminar environment that you're used to. This is a live stream, it's a webinar, it's a party, it's a show, it's a groupathon. We want you to come on and we want you to share, but you're not gonna quote unquote sell anything. You're not gonna pitch, right? And then to many of the speakers that I've been talking to, many of them are my friends. And if you've seen the groupathon, Alicia Little was here earlier as well. She was also part of the groupathon. And you would know that out of the, thousands and thousands of so-called experts out there, hundreds of people who are, quote unquote, really caring about what you're doing and caring about you, a very small percentage of people would actually say okay to that, right? And so it was very difficult. It was very challenging for me to find people who are experts to say, hey, could you come here and share, but you're not going to be selling anything. Many of them actually say no, right? And so that became an awkward situation for me on the event organization side. For Patrick, he was on the opposite spectrum of that. He was speaking, right? And he was saying, I want to work with different event organizers, but I'm pretty much paise, right? I'm sorry. Suddenly cannot think of the translation. I don't feel right, right? That I want to speak on somebody's platform. I'm embarrassed to want to give away free content without selling anything because the event organizer actually wants to make money as well, right? And so with that, we found that synergy. We found that synergy in that Patrick wants to share without selling, without any expectation in return. And we want speakers and special guests who does just that. And so with that, I think it's almost, as they say, for lack of a better terms, a match made in heaven, right? We have the same priorities, we have the same passion and the same mission to want to change as many people's lives as possible with no expectation of anything in return. And so with all of that, I think it is definitely a great opportunity for us to know somebody like Patrick, because it's very rare that you find somebody who's been around ever since the early 2000s who still has that kind of giving mentality, and still really have very few expectations back in return. So with that, let's all give Mr. Patrick a huge round of virtual applause. And thank you, Patrick, once again for being here with us. And before, again, we let you go, just taking a look at some of the additional comments that have been coming in earlier. I mentioned that Lainey was, in fact, promoting your marketing course, apparently, and unfortunately got sick, so missed the promo, but she did start. And so with all that, hopefully, Lainey, you are feeling better. But if anybody knows, Patrick, he obviously always creates a lot of amazing content. So if there's any opportunity for you to promote or to share Patrick's products, definitely do so. Jason is saying great point to you. And then we also have Adibo saying thank you for your answer. Queen Bees is saying, sounds like we need a one-day class, which if you are available, Patrick, of course, more than happy to discuss the logistics with you. I'm sure many of us, just like Annie, Queen Bees over here, is more than interested to learn more about this from you. So if, by the way, you do want to learn more from Patrick, type in the word Patrick inside the comments, type in thanks Patrick, in fact, so that we know that you're interested to learn more about NFT, learn more from Patrick, even some of the digital marketing stuff that he's been doing in the past, because I'm sure there are many ways that we can do to help you alongside of those notes as well. Lainey is saying, thanks you so much. Great learning from Patrick. Curtis is saying, quite understandable. Also saying fun stuff. And then Queen Bees is saying, intention is important. And then we saw something from Elisa earlier as well. Thank you again. So many people giving you huge rounds of applause. Lots of people thanking you as well. You just over-delivered in terms of value here today. And as Lainey says the best, Patrick. Andre says, thanks, Patrick. So does the digital business ecosystem says, thank you, Patrick, and so much more where that came from. So with all of that, I think that you have definitely outdone yourself here today, Mr. Patrick. I know that we shared this a little bit before, but since we are officially signing off now, once again, any final thoughts and what is the best way for our friends to connect with you?
Right. So to learn more about NFT, do check out wakeupmillionaire.com/NFT. It is only available as is available. As you know, NFT is limited. So once they are gone, right? Which means that you only be able to acquire that from anybody who decided to sell in the future. There will be a total of 1,040 minted NFTs for the Wake Up Millionaire edition. And that's going to be the first minted NFT under the Patric NFT brand. So do check that out. And if you want to have like other content, digital marketing content, content about success, about business, and content that are not related to any of these, you can definitely check out my Facebook page at fb.com/Patric Chan live. And there will be links to other stuff if you want to subscribe to anything, but you don't need to subscribe to anything if you don't want to. Everything is just going to be there. That's about it. There's no any other final words. That's about it. Thank you, sir.
That's all, folks. So with that, I think Karen also says it best, just like everybody else. Thank you, Patrick. You definitely over-delivered as well. And so with all of that, if you are interested to continue to learn more from Patrick, you want to learn more from the rest of the week as well, of course, we have a lot more activities and festivities planned for you. There's going to be so much additional G Lives. If you want to get Patrick back once again, thanks, Patrick, inside of the comments. And of course, if you want more additional mini courses, other virtual events, we do have a virtual speaking mini course this coming weekend as well. So if you're interested in that, let us know in the comments. Type in the word yes, and our mentors, our leaders will reach out to you and send you an invitation. So with all of that, on behalf of the entire Groove community and myself, we do want to thank you for your time here today, and especially to our super special guest, Mr. Patric Chan, all the way from across the pond in Penang. Anytime that you want to hang out again, Mr. Patrick, definitely do so. I think we're only about 10 minutes away from each other, which is absolutely crazy in this world. But I think right time, right place. Let's not lose out on this opportunity. And of course, anytime you want to work with us, on other live events, you want to do a webinar, you want to do more parties, be a guest on G Live or the Groovathon, that will be coming up probably next week or so. I'm sure the Groove committee will be more than happy to hear from you again. So is that cool with you, Mr. Patrick?
Pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. All right, so awesome. So thank you very much for all of your time today. Remember, as always, take action right now. Let us know if you have any questions. And on behalf of the entire Groove committee, on the leaders, as well as Patric Chan himself, we shall see you next time right here on G Live on The Insight. Cheers, folks. Have a great rest of the week.
You gotta get into the groove.